Hello class, let's talk about how we're going to take care of the puzzle cube assembly and drawing files. And in this video we're going to focus on the assembly portion, and then we'll talk about the drawings in a second video. So one of the first things to do in this assignment is make sure that you've downloaded the puzzlecubes.zip file, and then once it's downloaded you'll probably find it in your downloads folder. We need to make sure that we unzip it, because as a compressed zip file we can have it open up the files, but if we try and do this we may not be able to access it because Inventor can't find the compressed zip files afterwards. So back in the downloads folder we can go ahead and extract all. We can save it in the same downloads folder where we've been keeping some of the other files. And then now that we don't see that extract logo or that extract tab, we know that these parts are ones that we can actually work with. So when we switch over to Inventor, we can go ahead and start an assembly file. So within the assembly file, you may notice that there's a place with content center. We actually need the place command to be able to go ahead and assemble our pieces. Now in terms of how we're assembling them, keep in mind that there is a second file, puzzle answer key, where we can download it, open it up, and we can see what the puzzle needs to look like and the different steps that we can apply. So we'll start with a green piece, we'll add a red piece, and then we can add in some other components as needed. So within Inventor, we'll start with the green piece, we'll open it up, and while it's two-dimensional, once we click to set it, it goes into a three-dimensional isometric view. It will offer to set a second copy of it. Sometimes that's needed, sometimes it's not, but we'll go ahead and hit OK because we'll need the one copy. Now if we click and drag on that, we notice that it moves around. We need to make sure that it doesn't move around because there are no other constraints that we can apply to this individual part. So if we right click and select grounded, we'll no longer be able to go ahead and move that piece around. We're now set to go ahead and insert the next piece, in this case the red puzzle piece, place it wherever, and same deal, we need to make sure we're only putting in one copy. We can now use the free rotate tool to help us spin it around and place it in a better orientation so we can almost get it to fit in place. And in this case, the most important thing is we can see that we've got faces that we will want to connect to one another. So, with it rotated, we can select the Constraint tool, and then we can start selecting which faces we're going to attach to one another. Now, to eliminate all 6 degrees of freedom, we need to effectively put in 3 constraints. We'll start off with mate. The mate constraints tend to be a little stronger. It acts more like glue, so we can say that we're gluing these surfaces together and they'll snap together. If we hit apply, that's one way to confirm that that's the way we want it to do. If we select cancel, it'll actually undo the work. And if we hit OK when we redo it, it automatically goes back to the general view. And we can see that the part moves in certain directions. We can see that it moves left and right if we're looking at it from the front view. If we look from the side view, we can see that it will only move up and down. And if we look from the top view, we can see that it will move up and down again, but not left or right. So that's telling us that there are still several degrees of freedom that we need to take care of. In this case, sometimes it's easier to use the view cube than the free rotate to go ahead and put in the new constraints, and I can say that this surface and this surface can get glued together. Now by clicking apply, I can go ahead and start putting in the next constraint. However, in this case, since I don't have any surfaces that I could effectively glue together, I need to use the flush constraint, which is a little closer to acting a cast. And what it'll do is it will say that the 2 surfaces selected need to stay in line with each other. So with those placed, and all of the two mates and the flush that have been applied, we can see that the red piece will not move anywhere without that green piece. And since the green piece is grounded, neither one of them will move. All 6 degrees of freedom have been eliminated. We can, if you feel up to it, apply more than one part at a time. We can actually put in everything, but it's usually going to be easier to go ahead and just place them one at a time. That way you're not blocking your views of anything else. So in the case of the orange piece, we can apply the constraints very similarly. However, rather than using free rotate, I'm going to go ahead and just select the surfaces that I need to constrain to one another. And it works a little bit faster than if we did not. Okay. Now, a lot of times it'll kind of jump around, won't necessarily match the way that we need it to, but by kind of knowing how the surfaces need to align with each other in your own mind, you should be able to apply these fairly quickly. Once you've once you've assembled all of your pieces, make sure to save your file, and ideally you're going to save it in the same location as the puzzle pieces themselves. That'll make it a lot easier to go ahead and make sure that you're not missing anything when you open this at a later time. So hopefully this clarifies it. You'll still need to add the purple and blue pieces to go ahead and finish constructing this cube, but with the answer key, shouldn't take you too long. So good luck with this, and when you're ready to move on to the drawing files, we'll see you in the next video.